Hey everyone, what's up? Yeah, I told you I'd be back, but as you could see, I'm here to basically talk about or discuss the first half of the current eighth season of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Um, of course, as some of you may or may not know, the eighth season just ended its first half, if you will. The first season just ended its first half. Um, today. Today was the ending of the first half of season 8. Um, and to say that the season itself, the first half so far, has been kind of hit or miss, I think would be an understatement because there has been a lot of people that have been like, seriously, you know, what exactly are we looking at kind of deal. I mean, that's kind of how they've been acting. I mean, I'll give you an example. The first two-parter, which, you would think, okay, cool. Not a problem, right? You would think the first two-parter has potential. It, it has potential to be, well, basically the premiere itself has potential to be one of the best premieres in recent memory. And it shows that at first. It shows that at first because the premise is actually pretty good. I will give it that. The premise is pretty good. Twilight wants to take everything they have learned sorry, just drinking some Starbucks out of there. Starbucks times two coffee, dark roast flavor, pretty good. But basically, Twilight wants to take everything they have learned, especially recently, since basically it was already known by now that the movie would be connected to season 8. And long story short, trying to get to the point here, Twilight wants to take everything she has learned, um, especially with the recent trip around Equestria. She wants to take everything she's learned and apply it to basically apply it to something greater. And her goal, her plan, her great plan is to open a school. And the reason she wants to open a school, as I said, is so that she could along with her friends, can help spread the message of friendship. Basically, pass it on, spread it to other creatures around and outside of Equestria and beyond Equestria, but also pass the torch to a new generation. Now, there is one thing that some people have found critical about that scenario. Now, first of all, I will say this, and I notice I'm not the only one that saw this. I think Shopwit saw it. I think Lily Orchard saw it. But basically, at the beginning of the episode, it feels like the dialogue there is forced. It's forced at a point because basically it feels like it's forced. Like it was just added in at the last second. And it does feel like that. It really does. It does feel like it was added in at the last second. And the reason I say that is because it feels like they had other lines prepared to be, or basically they already had different lines recorded and inserted into the episode. But since this episode was supposed to take place after the movie, they had to rewrite the dialogue and re-record it, and like I said, almost at the last minute, inserted into the opening of the premiere. They basically had to insert it right at the last minute into the premiere so that it would connect with the movie. And I'll give them credit. It does. I'll give them credit. They are trying to live up to what they said. They're trying to connect the film with the movie, trying to make you feel like it's all one and the same, and that's good. That's good that they're doing that. But here's the problem. A lot of people can sense the fact that the dialogue feels like it was just added in at that last moment. Like I said, like that, like it feels like other lines were meant. Other lines were meant to be said. It's like other lines were meant to be said, and instead we got that one. Instead of getting the lines that we were meant to get, we got lines that basically, like I said, felt like they were recorded just recently and added in at the last moment. Now, I could be wrong, probably am, but it just feels like that. Overall, I will say this. The premise, again, like I said, it's not a bad premise. But one thing that Shopwit, when he was talking about this first two-parter of this season, and even Lily Orchard brought this up, mostly Lily brought it up, but basically it's how Twilight fandangled her friends into doing this. It's like, here you have the rest of the main 6 or main 7, if you count Starlight, and I'll get into that in a little bit, that have other jobs beyond, being teachers. They have other responsibilities. Pinky works at Sugar Cube Corner, doing the baking and selling cakes and all that. Rarity's got her 3 boutiques. Applejack is in charge of running the farm and running the apple business for her family. Rainbow Dash is part of the Wonderbolt, so she's got constant rehearsals to take part in. And other things Wonderbolt related. Fluttershy has a new animal sanctuary. You kind of get the idea, right? They all have their own things. Like I said, Applejack's got the farm, Rarity's got a boutique, Pinky's got Sugar Cube Corner, Fluttershy's got the animal sanctuary, Rainbow Dash has got the Wonderbolts. Just saying. And Twilight, she's the princess of friendship, and even though this is her idea, should know, oh, I've got other responsibilities as the princess of friendship as well. And I'm hoping and here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. When I thought about this episode, when I thought about the situation here that Twilight and her friends have put themselves into, I came up with the deduction that it has to work around a schedule. They have to have a certain schedule to balance things out. And my thought process was that, let's say Rainbow Dash and Rarity have to work a day, need to take a day to focus on their other responsibilities. You know, the boutiques, the Wonderbolts. How could this work out? And the same with Pinky and Applejack and Fluttershy. How could this work out? And my thought process was, well, on the days that Rarity and Rainbow Dash can't be there because they got the other responsibilities to take care of, you could have that day be a day where maybe Fluttershy and Applejack take over their classes, you know, and those are the only classes they will teach that day. And or Pinky takes over one of the. You kind of get the idea. Like basically, you get a substitution there. And later on in the season, I started to notice that. It looks like they were starting to go down that route. Maybe not so much, but they were going down that route because all of a sudden you have Twilight, who's the head mayor, the principal, if you will, of that school. Suddenly, like around Marks for Effort, and I think even an episode before that, she's starting to teach class as well. Now that's obvious. Now that shouldn't come as a surprise since she's the element of magic and she needs to teach a class on magic. You know, so that shouldn't come as much of a surprise. But still, it feels like that's possibly the best scenario, that the main seven, if you will, probably take over for each other's classes for that day so that basically the others could take care of business. And then on the weekends and maybe certain other days, they close down the school. They shut the school down for about the weekend, maybe an extra day or so everybody could every other member of the main seven can catch up on what they need to, maybe have a day to relax, stuff like that. Again, to me, it makes the most sense. It really does. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people since last season, and with Fame and Misfortune, and even up till now, have praised Starlight Glimmer's role in the series so far. They've praised it to the point that they feel she's probably the most competent character sometimes when it comes to certain situations. You know, basically, they are complimenting the fact and praising the fact that she is now being looked at as the voice of reason. I mean, what they like about her character is she'll just straight up tell you like it is. She'll straight up tell you like it is and not be regrettable about it. I mean, in this episode, in this two-part premiere, when she confronts Twilight after Twilight gets chewed out and embarrassed and humbled and humiliated by the new antagonist or whatever he is, Chancellor Naysay, Starlight just comes up to her, and after everybody's tried to cheer her up, which is not working, finally confronts her after she gets out of her little pouting moment. Back at after she gets out of her little pouting moment from her castle, Starlight just straight up confronts her and says, "Hey, I ain't gonna tell you what you did wrong. I ain't gonna, try to cheer you up. Nope, I'm gonna straight up tell you what you did wrong." And she does that. Starlight pretty much says, "Look, you did things by the way other ponies wanted you to do it, not the way you want to do it, not the way you and your friends could do it." And everybody praised Starlight for that, because she basically took the book, because Twilight was saying, because Twilight trying to argue trying to counter what Starlight was saying. Starlight basically takes the book and goes, bam, down to the bottom of the lake with you. She basically knocks the book right into the bottom of the lake, and she basically says, "Look, the EEA doesn't matter in this point, because you know why? The EEA is only about education, not about friendship, and that's what you're teaching here." I mean, she basically points out the fact that you're doing something different that's beyond what the EEA would understand or comprehend. Basically, it's like, look, you are doing things their way, not your way, not the Twilight Sparkle way, not the main six way, not the way of the group of ponies that saved this world from the Storm King and others. And basically, that woke Twilight up. It's like that was basically the advice Twilight needed, and basically, probably the best example of her making the right decision in putting Starlight in this position. Because Starlight, like I said, whether people like to admit it or not, has been positioned as a character that's basically going to come out and say, "Look, I ain't gonna say anything." Basically, she's going to come out. What I'm trying to say is, Starlight is being positioned, has been positioned as a character, whether you like her or you don't, that is going to tell you like it is. She ain't going to hide it. She ain't going to BS you. She's basically going to say, "Look, this is what you did wrong." It's like, again, with Twilight here, she basically told Twilight straight up, "This is what you did wrong because you did it their way and not the way not the way you wanted to do it." And I like that. I really did like that. And I think a lot of people did. It's like, okay, this is what we want to see out of a character like Starlight. It's like, you gotta, okay, it's like this. To someone like, let's say, Del Wilsonator, Thespio, if you're going to shove Starlight down our throats, this is the best way to do it. You want to make Starlight likable to someone like him, maybe to someone like Lily or whoever. This is the way you do it. You basically have her be the kind of character that doesn't BS anybody and straight up tells them the facts of what they did wrong. Basically, straight up tells them and shoots with them, "Hey, you did this wrong. What you did wrong was this, and what you should be doing is this." And that's pretty cool on their part. It really is. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool on the creative part to do that. Because basically what Starlight was saying is, you and your friends are not teaching the way you know how to teach. You're not being yourselves. You're being what they want, not who you are. And that was cool. Again, like I said, they basically straight up, they basically straight up said, "Hey," and what I'm trying to say is they basically said straight up, Starlight's going to be this character and probably become the most relatable character besides Applejack in a sense, and people are going to love it. And guess what? They were right. Look, I know some people may not like Starlight, but I think if you keep putting her in these kind of scenarios, I think people will. I think people will. And I know I sounded like I rambled there for a second, so I do apologize. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying, the 2-part premiere was good. It was all right. Chancellor Naysay, I will say this. If he's making a comeback in the second half of season 8, whether it's with the episode that's going to feature the return of Star Swirl, or if it's going to be part of the finale, all I could say is this guy, this character, you talk about someone you want to punch right in the face, because he's not just acting like a jerkwad to you, but he's acting like a jerkwad that's bringing up some good points that honestly you don't want to hear, because part of that is right, part of it's true, but they're not seeing the bigger picture. Hold on for a sec. Be right back. Hello? Yeah. Sorry, folks. I got a call from family there. That was, like I said, they're after my nephew's game, so sorry about that. But anyway, like I was saying, what was? Oh yeah, like I said, sorry about that. But like I was saying, this naysay, if he doesn't come back, in the middle of, in the second half of the season, in that episode with Star Swirl or in the finale, he's going to be a waste of a character because he has potential. And like I said, he's the kind of character that you want to. That's a jerkwad, and he's a jerkwad that not only do you want to punch in the face, it's because he's being a jerkwad and he's not understanding the bigger picture. But he's the kind of jerkwad that basically you want to punch in the face because he's pointing out certain facts that are correct. But when I look at the character, I don't see a jerk. I don't see a character that's not just pointing out the facts, acts, and as someone would say, is kind of a racist character, speciesist character, which is, I guess, another term of racist because of the way he feels towards, the dragons, the hippogriffs, sea ponies, and the griffins, and all that. But basically, he is a. But I think honestly, this is just my opinion. This is my opinion. My opinion, folks. I think honestly, he's a very paranoid character. Because if you take a look at the first encounter he has. All right. Okay. If you take a look, what I'm trying to say is, if you take a look at the end of the first part, at the end of part one of the premiere, and he sees Oculus in the disguise of this big bug creature and or what have you, he kind of cowers right behind. He's right next to he's right next to Twilight, and he cowers right behind her in fear. So what I'm looking at is a character that, well, basically isn't just a speciest person, speciest character, racist character, but also is a very scared character, very fearful character. He's afraid. And I think if he's brought back either in that episode with Star Swirl or in the finale, it's going to be revealed that the reason he's acting the way he is isn't because he's racist or paranoid. It's because he's scared. It's because something may have happened. I mean, I get this feeling we're going to find out that something happened back when maybe he was younger, and it's scarred him. It's basically affected him to the point that he doesn't trust any other creature besides ponies, unicorns, and Pegasi. And that's it. He doesn't trust dragons. He doesn't trust hippogriffs. He doesn't trust, sea ponies because of or griffins. And thank you for tuning in, Douglas, or DP. I'm just going to call you DP for short. And yeah, I did. Let's see. You asked, did I know how some episodes of the last season came out of the animation studio before they were finalized and were published on the internet? Yeah, I do know about that because they have, especially with this first half that just ended, there were episodes that came out the same way because they have a little timer. And the animation, when you compare the two, is completely different, especially with today's recent episode. But anyway, when I look at Naysay, I see a character that, like I said, we're going to find out more about him, and that something may have happened in the past to where he's just not trustworthy of any other creatures except pony creatures like Pegasi, unicorns, and earth ponies, and he doesn't. And because of whatever happened, he is not trustworthy of hippogriffs, sea ponies, griffins, or dragons, or yaks, or any creatures. So I think we're going to find out more about his character as the season goes on. I really do. Now, as far as the Student 6 go, the Student 6 I think are okay. They have potential. But the fear that a lot of people have is the Student 6 is going to take over. They're going to be the new main 6 as the series progresses. And that's been a fear. That was even a fear when it was announced we were going to get these characters. And I will say this. I don't think we have anything to fear about that. Because, as I said, a majority of the episodes, this one included today, which was the Mean 6, which was called the Mean 6, a majority of the episodes in this season, 16 of them, as a matter of fact, 16 of them, 15 to 16 of them are non-school, non-Student 6 related. They might have connections and all that, but the Student 6, as they're called, and the school, in a sense, are a non-factor. And as far as the Student 6 and the school goes, you got 10 episodes related to them. So, in other words, the show is still focused on the main characters, the ones that brought the show to the dance. And I'm very appreciative of that, as I'm sure a lot of other people are. But again, when you look at the Student 6, you can understand why people fear that they may be the new main characters in the future, or we're going to be the new main focus. But there is a likeness about them. There's a likeness because you don't just have ponies of different variety in this. You don't have a group of ponies that's consisting of Pegasi and unicorns and earth ponies. No, you actually have a group that's consisting of all creatures across Equestria. You have a pony in Sandbar. I think that's what his name is. You have a hippogriff sea pony in Silverstream. You have a changeling in Oculus. You have that griffin. I can't think of his name right now. And you have the yak girl, Yolanda or Yonda, or whatever her name is. You have those characters, and you have Smolder, the dragon, which I think she's going to be a standout character. So it's nice to have that variety because it's like, well, if you ever wanted to do a spin-off of this, like they did with Equestria Girls, and you wanted a group to be focused on in that spin-off, this would be that group. Now, there's no doubt from what the synopsis have said, leaked or officially released, that they're going to be, the Student 6, along with the CMCs, are going to be the main focus for the finale of the season. That's pretty much confirmed. What role they're going to play in it, we don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. But right now, they're okay. Yeah, they're okay. I think as long as you don't push them down our throats and put them in positions to where, well, I know it's kind of weird to say, but as long as you don't really shove them down people's throats and say, hey, here's your new main cast. Forget about the main 7. Here's your new main cast. As long as you don't do that and you take your time in introducing us to them as a group and individually, I think people are going to like them. I mean, a good example of doing it individually is Smolder. They put Smolder in a position to where she was able to relate, if not kind of be like a character of exposition when it came to Meltdown and what was happening with Spike. So overall, you present him in a variety of ways, which individually and together, I think will work out, and I think will work out in a big, big way. I really do. But speaking of Spike and speaking of changes, this season has been one of change. Not just the fact that we have the school now as a part of the continuity, but we also have changes for certain characters. Probably one of the biggest examples of change is Maud Pie. Because Maud Pie, just like Big Mac last season, now has a romantic love interest in Mud Briar, who a lot of people have compared as being the Sheldon of Big Bang Theory, being the Sheldon of MLP. But that's not the only big change. That's not the only big change. Because, yes, it is for the second season in a row, testing the waters as far as romance goes. I mean, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I believe that they are testing the waters with these secondary characters when it comes to romance, so that whenever the last season is, a lot of people saying it's season 9, I don't know about that yet, it could be, could not be, that whenever that last season comes and that opportunity comes in the last season, they're going to test the waters even further with the main cast getting some romances as well. It's just my theory. But one thing I will say about the Mod couple is it was nice to see Pinky's other sisters. It was nice to see Limestone and Marble Pie. It was nice to see them again. It was nice, and what I liked about it, though, was the fact it seems that when Pinky decides, okay, I got to go home and think this over, and we're not talking go home to Sugar Cube where she lives. she can keep corner where she lives, obviously upstairs. But to go back to her rock farm, I love the fact that it's apparently when you go back there, it's okay, it's fine, but you better prepare yourself to work. You better be ready to work because the line that Limestone has in here, besides the one she mentioned earlier, or later, I should say, she basically, as soon as the sun comes up, we almost get a rehash of Pinky waking up like she did in Hearthbreakers from season 5. But then she lies back down disappointed, like, oh, it's not such a good morning. You have Limestone come in and say, okay, sister, up and at 'em. You're going to be here. You're going to work. So I like that dynamic that when Pinky wants to go back to her farm, her rock farm and her family there, maybe for a time, maybe a break, maybe to have just a family-friendly visit, maybe a little bit of a break here and there, that she's not necessarily just taking a break. She's basically saying, I'm going to go back, visit with my family, and put myself right to work, working on the farm. I like that. And Limestone, I will say this. I'll give the creators a lot of credit. What they did with Limestone, when Pinky reveals the fact that Maud has a boyfriend, the look that Limestone gets and the reaction she gives is priceless. I mean, she just bugs out like, what? And then suddenly to kind of show that, hey, there's nothing wrong here. She's like, I'm not jealous. Who said anything about jealous? But in a sense, you can kind of tell that just with that one moment with Limestone, you could tell that even though she says she's not jealous, she is. Like, if it don't happen to her first, she'll get jealous. And I like that. I really did. I mean, I did like that. I really did like that little thing there, that moment there. But I also like the roles they had to kind of explain the situation to Pinky even better. Make Pinky understand, look, we know you're not happy about this, and you may not view Mudbriar as something special the way Maud does, but this, in comparison, if you take a look at what's under the rock and see that the gem that's hidden inside, that's how Maud sees Mudbriar. So I like the fact that they were not only brought back and gave us that funny moment with Limestone, but also brought back to kind of help Pinky realize, look, it's like, look, it's hard to have this kind of change happen, but you know what? It's basically, I just like the fact that they were brought in, and great to see them again, and they were brought back to really help Pinky understand, look, it's hard. It's like, hey, we understand. We know it's hard for you to accept this change, but you know what? Sometimes it's for the better. So it's great to see. It's great to acknowledge. But yeah, things like that were tremendous to see. The Cutie Mark Crusaders. Let's get to them for a second. The fact that they actually got a call. They got called upon by the friendship map. That was something I think a lot of fans, if you're someone that supports the CMCs, you've been waiting to see for quite some time, because now it's officially happened. Since they got the cutie marks, they are now been officially called by the cutie map. And that was great to see. It was great to see them get that call. And the fact that they got called because of the idea that the mission basically was to help. The mission basically was to help this sea pony hippogriff kind of have an understanding of what's going on with his parents, and kind of decide, what direction he should go in living wise, and who to live with, was good. It was really good. Like I said, it was really good to see. I will say this. one thing that I've noticed that MLP has done for, well, since its existence, Friendship as Magic has done since its existence, is in their own unique way they deal with subtle. They are very subtle in. Um, they're very subtle in some of the topics that they deal with. They're very subtle, and what I mean by that is, you take a look at Tanks for the Memories. You pretty much get the subtle message of how to deal with life and with someone passing on, with someone with a beloved relative or a beloved pet passing on. Even though in this case it was just hibernation. But then you take a look at this one, and you basically get the subtle notion that it's to teach a lesson about how to deal with divorce. Even though it doesn't look like the parents are totally divorced and they get along, it kind of has that subtle message of how to deal with it. And the fact that you have the Cutie Mark Crusaders, along with Twilight, but mainly the CMCs, be the one to be called upon to help this sea pony, the sea pony hippogriff, understand what's going on, help him understand the choice he can make. It's kind of surprising, but I guess in a sense relatable, especially for the young viewers. So there's that. But then, speaking of the Cutie Mark Crusaders, fast forward to Marks for Effort. And Marks for Effort is probably one of the most unusual CMC episodes I think a lot of people have seen. Because one thing a lot of people have said about Season 8 is the fact that it feels like it's taking characters and reversing them. And I'll get into that in a moment. But when you look at Marks for Effort, and the reason people look at it as being very unusual is due to the fact that the characters themselves, the CMCs, are trying to get in. They're trying to get in to Twilight School. In other words, they're doing what they can to try to get into Twilight School. Even going as far as to mentor and now tutor this new character who apparently is the antagonist, from what I understand, of the finale in the season 8 finale, or one of them anyway. You have them going through all this, sneaking into the school, trying whatever they can to get into the school, nearly getting banished temporarily from the school, only for them to be rewarded in the end. And it kind of throws people off, like, wait a minute. You're rewarding them as honorary graduates of the Friendship School, even though throughout the episode you have constantly told them, look, you're better off with Miss Cherry Lee because she's the education you need. She's the teacher you need to learn from, because here, this is all about friendship, and you pretty much are masters at that curriculum right now. So what you need more is regular education and not what we're giving you, or not what this school would give you. And again, it's kind of strange, but that's the kind of season, in a sense, it's kind of been like for a lot of the characters and the episodes. But the season's also been kind of like a tribute or paying homage. One episode that pays homage to a classic sitcom is the episode this is crazy. I'm going to look it up right now so I can make sure I get this right. Okay, Granny's Gone Wild. Basically, Granny's Gone Wild was nothing more than a parody, if not an homage to um, to Golden Girls. I mean, heck, the name of Granny Smith's group is the Golden Horseshoe Girls. Seriously, who didn't see that coming? Who couldn't make that connection if they didn't know about Golden Girls? And the fact that each of the four elders were categorized, if not based personality-wise, off the freaking Golden Girl characters. Who could not see that? Sorry about that. I mean, who could not see that? Again, like I said, who could not see that? That they were based personality-wise off the Golden Girls. I'm just saying. But yeah, it's been that kind of a season where even you had an homage to that. And it all centered basically around Rainbow Dash wanting to ride this roller coaster, which is shutting down in Las Pegasus. So, people actually liked it. I mean, and what's funny is that actually turned out to be one of the better episodes of the first half of the season. The only thing some people didn't like about it is the fact that AJ Applejack was getting most of the credit at the end. It's like you see this image of her on the sun, and she's winking, at the ship that Rainbow Dash and the Golden Horseshoe Girls are riding back on, that they rode to Las Pegasus on, and now they're riding back on. It's like, okay, Applejack, you really didn't have nothing to do with this, so why are you getting the credit? I don't know. But overall, besides that, you also had non-compete clause, which was basically calling back to the friendly rivalry between Applejack and Rainbow Dash, but this time it involved the students, who ended up saving RD and AJ from their own circumstances. And also kind of left the door open for one question to be hopefully answered in the future, and that is, why is Fluttershy for the past 9 months? Apparently that's how far it's that's how long of a time it's been, I guess. I don't know. How can Fluttershy be Teacher of the Month 9 months running? Kind of weird. But yeah, non-compete clause basically called back to the friendly rivalry. You had Break Up, Break Down, which was the second Sugar Bell Big Mac episode in the series, which I still think they're going to end in a trilogy. It's like, this is leading to something, and I got a feeling the trilogy is going to lead to a wedding. I don't know why. I just get this feeling. I just get this feeling that that's what it's leading towards. And the one thing about that is during this episode, it's pretty much acknowledged by one of the main characters in Spike, that is, that there's something more between Discord and Fluttershy. And much to the disgruntle of someone like Anthropony and maybe a few others, but not to me or anybody, not to me or probably many others, there's still an acknowledgement and reference and continuity nod to Spike and Sparity's situation. And the fact that they follow that little nugget, that little reference nugget, into the next week with Meltdown, it's like, seriously. It's like, I mean, I will give Map, Anthropony, and Cartoon Gentleman a lot of credit. The one thing they have said is, look, they basically said the same thing I have in a sense, and many others. Either do something about this or stop acknowledging it. It's like, either do something that talks about the situation, maybe references, maybe have them go the separate ways, or in my case, and probably a lot of other people's cases, have them at least finally officially get together, or just don't deal with it anymore. It's like, enough's enough. I mean, me personally, along with a lot of others, we would like to see Rarity and Spike, Sparity, if you will, officially be together. And hopefully, maybe by the 200th episode next year, they'll do that. Hopefully next year they'll do that. And then, of course, let's see, what else did you have? Okay, yeah, Mark said. Basically, I gotta look at some of the episodes again. But yeah, basically, from what people have looked at with the first half here, basically what people have looked at with the first half here is, okay, it's kind of been up and down. School Days was a decent start, although there was some things that people pointed out that could have been done better. I mean, Shop Wit even did a thing where he talked about how he would rewrite it. Fake It Till You Make It. This is a good one because, some people, I thought that was Fake It Till You Make It. I kind of like the idea because it gives Fluttershy's character more of a variety to work with as far as personality goes. I kind of like that. And I liked it because, even though it was a callback to an earlier episode from previous seasons, I liked it because it basically showed that the message basically in the end was just be yourself. Don't worry about impressing anybody else by being something you're not. Be yourself. And we've seen that before in the series with, Rarity and with Fluttershy and RD, Rainbow Dash, and most of the main six in a sense. But this was probably the best one because what was being done with this episode was, what was being done here, the premise here was basically Fluttershy was taking on all these different personas that it took Rarity being brought back to see what was going on and basically fire each of these three personas to get to the real Fluttershy, to basically get to Fluttershy, who was buried underneath all this. Because basically what was happening was Fluttershy was losing herself to each of these characters. And it's like if something wasn't done, she probably would have been lost forever, personality-wise. So Rarity just said, nope, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, and boom, there's Fluttershy. So, yeah, I thought that was good. I thought that was funny, just to see those moments take place. And then you get the parent map. Second time Starlight's been called by the map. First time she's been paired with another pony. In this case, she's paired with Sunburst. And we get to meet the parents for the first time. That being Starlight's dad, Firelight. And what was the mother's name? Hold on, let me check. Trying to see. I know they got names. Solar Flare, I think. I think that's her name. Solar Flare, I think. Yeah, Solar Flare. Is it Solar Flare? No, it's not. Who is it? Oh, I know. Hold on. It's not Solar Flare. Stella Flare. That's what it is. Stella Flare. We actually get to meet Firelight and Stella Flare for the first time, and I actually thought this episode was good. I thought, from what I've seen and heard other people talk about, I thought it was all right. I thought it was good. I mean, I even mentioned, if you will, and kind of showed in my own way, or acknowledged in my own way, I thought that Starlight had the best line so far in the series, if not in the season, for her character overall. Because basically we find out that the reason Sunburst and Starlight are sent there on a friendship mission is basically to reconnect with their parents. That basically the friendship problem is them reconnecting with their parents. And what I liked about it is when Sunburst kind of comes to the conclusion that that might be it, and Starlight's like, "You don't think that's it?" And Starlight's got this look on her face like, "You don't think that's the case, is it?" And then you have one of the townsfolk say, "Yeah, that's what we think it is." Starlight's line at the end when she's like, after she goes, "Ah," and falls back, I thought it was probably one of the best lines her character has had in the series, if not the season. And she's like, "Oh, why couldn't we be sent to stop a war or something?" Because basically her acknowledgement at the fact, because basically, and I thought that was a funny line. Everybody thought that was probably Starlight's best line. Because basically, Starlight's saying, "Hey, I'd rather stop a freaking war from breaking out than having to patch things up with my dad." But that's what her and Sunburst do, even though at the end, even though they patch things up, they're very quick to want to get out of there, because it's like, yeah, our parents are starting to plan to go visit us. Let's get out of here, you know. So that's pretty cool. I thought the line was pretty good on their part. And then, of course, you get to today's episode, where, a lot of people felt that it was kind of hit or miss. Overall, a lot of people felt that it was hit or miss because of the fact that you had all this potential, and it was wasted. I mean, there were glimmers of potential, but then it was just taken away. It's like it's not there. I mean, a lot of people have basically come out and said so far today that you've built up this episode, you've hyped up this episode as being a big deal. It's the return of Queen Chrysalis, and she's created these clones of the main six called the Mean Six, and yet you don't do really nothing with it except the traditional, let's have the imposter encounter the real deals or different members of the real deals and try to create some conflict until it was resolved. And what really got people probably not upset about this, but kind of like scratching their heads going like, really, that's it? This is how it's going to be solved? The fact that you're just going to have them apologize for acting a certain way before these clones came around and nearly ruined it all? It's like, really? You're not going to have them try to put two and two together and be like, wait a minute, of course you would never act like this, or of course you wouldn't say that, but what's going on, and try to put the pieces together. And what I like, and here's the thing, I can see what people are talking about with that, but that's where the intrigue comes in. That's where the mysterious intrigue comes in, because this is something that if they keep this in continuity could, in a sense, haunt the main seven, for a while, because they'll want to know, okay, what exactly happened here on this camping trip with us, and why did we act certain ways that obviously we wouldn't? You know, that to me, is, has the potential of, from a continuity standpoint, from being continued and acknowledged and touched upon maybe in the next season. But it's like, I could see where people are coming from. It's like, really, you're not gonna have them at least go over to the tree and see these little colorized branches? They're in the same color as they are. Or you're not going to put some ominous hint that maybe the Tree of Harmony has been corrupted because of these dark versions of the main six? I'm just saying. And you're not going to have them maybe confronted by, Chrysalis. It's like, what's going on here? Again, I could see what people are getting confused about that, but I think what makes it interesting is the mysterious intrigue that gets thrown in it, because even they don't know what happened, don't know why they were at each other's throats, and now, in time, and basically to me, in time, if excuse me, if they want to explore it even more or touch upon it even more in the future, they can do that, because you could either go with, like Dr. Wolf said, the darkness that was the mean six, these clones corrupting the Tree of Harmony, and something happens there, or you can have them do a continuation of this into next season, where basically they meet up with Chrysalis again, and it's Starlight that basically calls her out and says, "Hey, look, it took us a while to put the pieces together, but now we know why we were mad at each other, why there was infighting with each other. It was because of you." And maybe they'll do that, maybe they won't, but whatever they do, I think the mysterious intrigue is there, because even they don't really know why they got so angry with each other, besides maybe some original disputes over this camping trip, and over this camping trip and stuff. But yet, besides that, it's more along the lines of, they don't know what was really going on. They can't. I mean, I understand. It's like, why can't you just have them acknowledge, kind of try to figure out what happened, but yet you don't. So I can kind of see it, but the mysterious intrigue is there, and it does keep the door open, because you don't know exactly what could have been a result from this. You don't know if the Tree of Harmony could have been corrupted because it did go black a few times, or the fact that soon, that if they follow up on this and they confront Chrysalis again, that they'll point out, "Hey, it took us a while to figure it out, but now we know it was you that was basically behind us nearly turning our backs on each other," or something like that. So again, and I'm sorry if I'm stuttering. I've worked today. I'm a little tired. But again, I can see why people are a little confused about this. Some liked it because there was some generally good, hilarious moments, especially with the facial expressions and the reactions that the mean six, the clones, were making when they would basically pass themselves off as the real counterparts. So I will agree there were some few chuckles here and there. But overall, when you look at the first half here, it's like I said, it's been a mixed bag. It's been up and down, up and down. It's kind of been, I will put it this way, the final verdict for this, in my opinion, the final verdict for the first half, it's been 50-50. It started out as 60-40. 60 kind of ended up being like 60-40, like, 60, either way you look at it, like 60% liked it, 40 didn't, or 60% didn't, 40 did. And now it basically, the first half, in my opinion, is kind of ended dead even at 50-50. It's like half liked it, half didn't. And now it's up to the second half of the season, whenever that premieres, which I'm assuming will probably be about mid-August, maybe late July, mid-August, mostly mid-August. it's going to be up to this second half to really deliver upon this, to really deliver to really deliver, for the fans, for the viewers, because if they're building up to this great finale, they've really got to. I mean, again, like I said, if they're building up to this great finale, then the second half of the season has to really, really deliver with its episodes. It really has to buckle down and get you amped up for that finale with the episodes that will precede it. Now, one other thing that was different about this season is this was the first season in about, 5 years that Megan McCarthy was not the executive producer. As a matter of fact, the new executive producer was Nicole Dubach. Now, Nicole has had previous experience being executive producer and head writer of other shows like Star Wars Rebels and a few others. I think even Kim Possible, you name it. And now she's the executive producer of Friendship is Magic. And a lot of people liked, and when that announcement was made, a lot of people liked it because they saw the resume she was bringing with her. But I think she also helped out on some of the Ponyville mystery books, which is why in just the first half alone, you had 3 episodes featuring the CMCs. You had Surf and or Turf, Marks for Effort, and before that, Break Up, Break Down, which they were basically a subplot in the situation because they were trying to figure out potentially who Sweetie Belle's secret admirer could be. And the fact that it's starting to explore that romance with the CMCs kind of tells you that things were changing. And then maybe Nicole's addition, maybe Nicole stepping in as the new executive producer is not that bad of an idea. But, if Nicole and the creative staff are really going to step it up in the second half, sorry about that, my toe hit the mic stand there. But if they're really going to step it up in the second half, they got to pull out all the stops. So at least they got to have stories. They could have stories with these upcoming episodes. They're going to be worth people talking about and not be so 50-50. In other words, they got to go from being 50-50 in the first half here to being 100%, all the way, 100% positive. Basically, yes, this season was worth it. The second half has basically got to be the season. It's basically got to be the second half of the season. Basically, it's got to be the. What do I put this? It's got to be the. How do I put this? The second half of the season has to come out fire ablazing, if you will. It's got to come out beating to its own drum, and taking it to that next level. That's what it's got to do, and hopefully that's what will happen. Hopefully that's what will happen. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, the potential is there. I mean, there have been some good episodes here in the first half. Don't get me wrong about that. But now the second half has really, really got to deliver. And in my opinion, go from having a 50-50 opinion on the first half to being more one-sided in the positive side of things when it comes to the second half. They really got to stand up and deliver. And if they have proven anything in the recent past season or two, they can do just that. They can do just that with MLP. So, to me, they got to have a strong second half. They can't go 50-50. They got to go 100%. They got to be either 90-10, 90-10 or 80-20 at most. And that 90 and 80 has to be in the positive, not the negative. So, overall, though, the first half of the season, I thought was all right. I thought it was good. It had its moments that you can enjoy, you can get a kick out of. It had nice callbacks and references, continuity nods. So yeah, overall, I thought the first half was all right from what I've seen and from what people have said. And from what I've read, I thought it was good. And hopefully the second half of the season, when it comes out probably in August, mid-August, late August, will be better than the first half. Will be more improved than the first half. But we'll have to wait and see. Overall, if I was to grade the first half, I'd say B plus. I'll give it that. And if I was to score it, I'd say 75% positive, 75% test score. So we'll just have to wait and see what they give us in the second half. Second half, again, like I said, it's been proven. If My Little Pony Friendship is Magic has proven anything in recent seasons, it's the second half is always the best half. It's where the stuff really gets good. It's basically they got to be like the Golden State Warriors. They got to kick it up a notch and take it to another level and not look back in the second half. And they've proven that in the past. And like the Warriors, they've proven that the second half is always the best half. So we'll have to wait and see what they have in store for us for those upcoming final 13 episodes of Season 8. Of this current season, that is. So that's really all I'm going to say. Let me check if anybody else has said anything in the chats. It's getting a little dark, so I got to get ready to turn some lights on in here. See if anybody else has said anything. Nope. No one else has said anything. So overall, though, that's really all I'm going to say. Again, I give the first half a B plus and a 75% test score passing. And if they're like the Warriors, they will prove. And if like the Golden State Warriors, who won the NBA championship back-to-back just recently, if there's anything similar to that they've proven in the past, that is the second half is always the best half. And hopefully they will be able to deliver in the second half. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you all for watching live. Thank you all for tuning in live. I really appreciate it. Sorry if I sounded like I rambled a little bit throughout this. I do apologize. I did work today. I am a little bit tired. So, let me know what you guys... So overall, though, let me know what you guys think down below. Comments are welcome. Thank you all for watching live, and thank you all for watching post-live after it's been uploaded. Again, let me know what you guys think down below, and I will talk to you all later. God bless. Take care.